So let's do the hands-on example for comments. Let's understand the three different types of comments that we have: single line, multi-line, and hashtag. So if you go to materials, if you have an example to comments in PHP, open that folder, open deliverables file and logical flow. Okay, so the logical flow is basically we're going to do 5 examples. First is show single line comments, then we'll show multi-line comments, then we'll show hash comments, then we'll show the error while using comments inside comments, then we'll compare HTML versus PHP comments. So we're going to create 6 files for this, and you can find all these examples in the after folder. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this example. So for this I will go ahead and create a new folder called comments. So I'll go to my d:\amps and I'm going to create a folder in www called comments. Okay, so we're going to create all the files inside this, and how I'm going to access this, I'm going to say comments and slash whatever is the file name. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So for that, let's open Sublime and let's create the first file. That's basically single line comments. Copy this, save, change the folder to comments. I'm going to paste the same file name, save. Okay, so now the file is created. I'm going to minimize this and let's create the single line comments. So for this, I hope you have done the previous exercise, so you know how to show text onto the browser and using the both opening and closing tag and also the short notation for it. So I'm going to use the short notation here. I'm going to say PHP is interesting. Okay, I can use semicolon. Let's close this. So you can attach comments with 2 forward slashes and say print text. Okay, and I'm going to save this. You can even use the single line comments, the echo. When you are saying echo welcome to PHP, you can add in here, let's say this is echo method. I'm gonna resize this, or you can put a comment on top of it as well. Okay, both ways are fine. So let's execute this. There's a single line comment I'm putting inside the short notation, and also in the opening and the closing tag I'm using the echo, and I'm using 2 different ways to use the same single line comments. So let's print this. Okay, it's showing PHP is interesting, welcome to PHP. Let's analyze the code. And one interesting thing is there is no comments here. The comments is being ignored and comments will not be passed to the browser. So whatever commenting you're doing is only for your PHP code, right? It will not be displayed onto the browser. So you can type whatever you want, you can play around with it. You can put any secret thing that you want to put in the code. It will never be displayed to anybody. It's only when you open this PHP file, this PHP file comments is only visible to you. Okay, so let's do multi-line comments. Okay, so I'm going to create a file, multi-line comments.php. I'm going to use Control N to create a new file and Control S to save it. The file name is multi-line comments. Save it. Okay, so I'm going to write a multi-line comment. So we'll open PHP tags. So inside that I'm going to write the multi-line comments. I'm going to say this program is used to understand the types of comments in PHP. Okay, And if you observe, this will not be displayed onto the browser, but this is how you basically write a multi-line comment, and you can, whatever you write inside this block will be commented and will not be displayed in the output. It will not be used as a processing also. So let's use the same code here, and we'll convert the single line into a multiple line. So I'm just gonna say single line comment, say comments are fine here. I'm gonna convert single line into multiple line. Okay, so even you can use it as a single line, it's just fine. And I'm gonna comment this code. To comment this code, you can do this. Okay, make sure you don't put comments here outside of the PHP code, because we just discussed about this, that anything that you put outside the PHP code will be displayed as it is. Okay, so we don't want to do that. Okay, the comments will work only inside the PHP tags. Okay, so let's execute this. Okay, you're gonna see PHP is interesting, which is coming up from here, and you have all the comments which is not be visible in the output. Okay, so let's move on. Let's do the next example, that is showing the hash comments. So let's quickly create that file. I'm going to type PHP is interesting, and we can use an hash based comments here. Okay, and you can even use this. I'm just copying pasting just to save time. You can replace this with hash, you can replace this with hash. Okay, and everything is going to work as it is. Let's quickly run this. Okay, that looks fine. Next, let's create the comments of all types. Okay, let's quickly do this. Control N, Control S, paste the file name, press enter. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly do this. So we're gonna have the multi-line comment. And we're gonna close this. Then we're gonna use single line comments, and we'll say PHP is interesting. And then we can use hash based comments. You can use it here, or you can use it here as well. You can close this. Okay, so let's open this file. Okay, so this is the multi-line comment, single line comments, and hash based comments. Next, look at comments inside comments. So I'll show you one error here just to make sure you understand this concept. So I'm creating this file, error comments inside comments error file. This will be an error and I want to show you the error. Okay, so let's focus on showing this error. Okay, so what we're going to do is, let's say we are having a multi-line comment. Okay, so we're going to say this is a multi-line comments. Okay, and I want to have one more comment inside a comment. Okay, I can have single line comments, and I can have hash based comments. Okay, now I want to have one more comments here. This is another comments, and now I want to close this comments. Okay, and once you do that, you see there's an error here. So I just want to have a multi-line comment inside a multi-line comment. Okay, and somehow it doesn't recognize my ending of the parent multi-line comment. It just ends the multi-line comments. All the multi-line comments that is open will be closed with one single multi-line comments, and that's why you have an error here. We're going to verify that. Let's open this file quickly. Okay, and you're going to have this error, and this error is already visible in the code editor here, which says that there's a missing comment somewhere. Okay, and you can have n number of single line and hash line. It doesn't really care. It only worried about multi-line comments, and multi-line comments, everything that you close, if you have many multi-line open comments and you have one closing, all the open multi-line comments are closed with a single closed multi-line, and thereafter if you try to close any other multi-line, it will give you an error. Okay, so make sure you understand this concept well. So many a times you will be writing like 1000 lines of program. Somewhere in the top you have opened the comments and you forgot it to close it, and then you start again a multi-line comment, then you will have errors like this showing that some of the multi-line comments are not properly closed. Okay, so let's do the final example. HTML comments versus PHP comments. So I'm going to create one more file here, HTML and PHP comments.php. For that, you need to know how an HTML comments look like. So this is how an HTML comments look like. This is HTML comments. Okay, and if you want to verify this, you can go and open this file. There's no output, but if you view page source, you can see the HTML comments here. There's a comment of HTML, so it's displayed it here as a comment, and in the output this value will not be there. And what is a PHP comment? We'll say hello. And this is a PHP comment, means it will not be displayed in the target side. Okay, so let's play around with it. What happens if you comment the PHP code? Okay, now I want to comment the PHP code. Let's see what happens. So what do you think will happen? Will this print the PHP code, or will this just show whatever is the code that has been printed? Okay, so let's see this. So this basically, if you look at view page source, so it's showing the output, right? It is showing will I be printed. It's the PHP code is executed properly, no issues, but it is commented because you are using HTML comments. So even though you put PHP code inside the HTML code, the PHP code will get executed first, because the server will read the file, the PHP code, wherever it is there. It ignores whatever is outside. It doesn't really care is it a comment or it's a code or it's JavaScript or anything. It doesn't really care. It only cares about the PHP code, and whatever is inside the PHP code, it take this out and then put this code as an output and send back to the browser. So browser will see this. Okay, let's do another example. Now I will put the HTML code inside the echo and I'll say will I be printed. Let's mark it as 1. Let's mark it as second. And now guess what's the output. So will this be printed? The second one, what do you think? So let's go ahead and verify that. Okay, let's view source. So you see, even this has been printed. So you see the PHP code executes and print the comments, and the comments will now be understood by the browser. So whatever the PHP code is been executed, the output will only be understood once it is been given to the browser. It's nothing to do at the PHP side. It doesn't really care whether it's a HTML comment or HTML code or JavaScript. The purpose of PHP is to display. So it just display, it doesn't execute what is inside that code. Okay. The whole magic happens when this output is sent to the browser. The browser knows this is a code. This is an HTML comments. Okay, PHP doesn't know about it. For PHP, it's just in text. So let me give you one more example. These are all tricky one and good to know how this PHP behaves. So let's say I started a multi-line comment. Okay, and I say will I be printed 3. This is an interesting one. Okay, so have a multi-line comment starting here and ending it here, and have an HTML code, maybe a simple text outside the PHP block. So let's see what happens to this. Okay, nothing happened. This one is ignored, means it is ignored at the server level. This is treated as a comment and it's not been sent back to the browser. Okay, so this is the reason behind the PHP tags. Even though you write in different blocks, it understands the continuation that you're basically doing. If there is an multi-line comment started on top and you're writing the normal HTML or whatever outside your PHP tags, you're closing it somewhere else, it still remember that this is all PHP. Okay, it's good to know. Let's do a last one example, very quick. What happens if you comment this inside the HTML comments? What do you think will happen here now? Any guesses? What will be the output? So let's verify that. The HTML comments are displayed. The reason behind, we have seen in previous case that this one is completely ignored and not been sent to the browser. And if you have comments, anything on top of it, right, doesn't really care what's inside it, it just printed out to the browser. So understand it, how this actually works in PHP. Anything that you write inside the PHP block is executed first. Whatever is left over, whatever is outside your PHP will be given back to the browser. The browser take in charge and then it try to see whether it's an HTML comment. So the browser understand HTML comment. The PHP understand 3 types of comments: single line comments, multi-line comments, and hash based comments. Okay, So that's all about the comments. I hope this example has cleared you different types of examples that we have shown on comments. So you can go to the after folder, you can find all these examples, and there will be many examples here, more than what I have shown, just to illustrate the same point here, and you can play around and have this as a reference. Okay, so that's it for this comment section, and I have some exercises for you to do. So I'll see you in the next lecture.